Imagine buying a fighting game in 2005 and you get a massive roster, a character creator, hundreds of unlockables, multiple single player modes, a strategy game and RPG, a traditional arcade mode, and enough content to keep you busy for months. That kind of sounds like a modern AAA fighting game, right? Well, you're wrong. That was SoulCalibur III. And honestly, the more I look back at this game, the more convinced I became that it was one of the most ambitious fighting games ever made. Not just for its era, but just ever made. Even better than most modern fighting games, because while most fighting games were focused mostly entirely on versus matches, SoulCalibur 3 was trying to be something much bigger. It wanted to be like a fighting game, an adventure game, a strategy game, an RPG, and somehow it managed to pull most of it off, which is very surprising. So today I just want to talk about why SoulCalibur 3 was ahead of its time and why 20 years later it still feels like a game the industry fully never learned from. But if you guys don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming news, reviews, playthroughs, analysis, and we do it in a chill way with no over editing BS. So if you enjoy that style of content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. We're closing in on 2,500 subs, so I'd appreciate it if you just help me along the way and hit that subscribe button. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So let's start with the obvious about SoulCalibur 3. It had an insane amount of content. Just booting it up, you'll see all these modes. The amount of content in this game was ridiculous. I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, it was comparable to, say, like Mortal Kombat Deception, even more. Modern fighting games launch and people immediately start asking, okay, what is there to do? That's how it was with MK1. There's nothing to do. There's invasions, there's 1v1 fights, and that's about it. SoulCalibur 3 never really had that problem, and that's a PS2 game. You had arcade, Tales of Souls, Chronicles of the Sword, character creation. You had a lot of museum content, unlockables, weapons, extra characters, stages, everything you could think of. The game constantly gave you something new to work towards, and it actually felt like your time was being rewarded. And that's something a lot of modern fighting games struggle with. Like, I mean, Street Fighter 6 has a lot of content, but there isn't really that many unlockables. I mean, all the outfits you have to buy with real money. I mean, there's World Tour mode, which is good, but I mean, this is a PS2 game and you're just barely reaching that level. Tekken 8, you could say the same thing. It's on that Street Fighter 6 level. MK1, I'm ashamed of that, being an MK fan. There's really no content there. How could a SoulCalibur 3, a PS2 game, one-up that? It's really mind-boggling. And the character creator was way ahead of its time too. This feature alone would have been enough. Character creation in fighting games wasn't new. You know, MK Armageddon did it around that same era, but SoulCalibur 3 took it to another level. You could create your own warrior, customize their appearance, choose your fighting styles, unlock equipment, and build characters that actually felt unique. Okay, but this was in 2005, a PS2 game. Let that sink in. There are games releasing today with worse customization systems. The character creator wasn't perfect, but for the time, it was incredible, and it became one of the defining features of the entire SoulCalibur franchise. But then we need to talk about the real reason people still praise this game today, and that's Chronicles of the Sword, because to be honest, this game mode sounds fake when you describe it, because look at this. Let me describe it to you. If you're talking to me, you're telling me that a fighting game has a strategy campaign where you move armies across the map, capture territory, level up units, build a custom character, and participate in large-scale battles? What? That sounds like something out of like Total War. That's not a fighting game mode, that's an entire game, and yet SoulCalibur 3 included it anyways. The mode wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong, but the ambition was unbelievable. Most fighting games today wouldn't even attempt something like this. Okay, we're talking about these other modes, but in the end of the day, it's a fighting game. Does it have fighting game stuff? Well, yes. This is one of the biggest reasons SoulCalibur 3 feels ahead of its time, because it understood something many modern fighting games forget, which is most players aren't, you know, tournament players, most players aren't grinding ranked, most fighting game players are casual fans, and SoulCalibur 3 gave those players a ton of things to do. Whether you wanted story content, unlockables, character customization, or strategy gameplay, the game had something for everyone. It wasn't built around online competition, it was built around fun. So yes, as a fighting game, it does check all those boxes. It has those arcade modes, it has cool character customization, everything that the casual player would love, SoulCalibur has, and then some. Which means, man, this game was really ahead of its time. I really would want a remaster of this. And then you have the roster too. You have, you know, names like Nightmare, Siegfried, Ivy, Taki, Cervantes, Rafael, Yoshimitsu. I mean, the roster wasn't large, but it was memorable. Everyone felt distinct. Everyone had their own identity, and everyone had their own style, and that's what's good. And that's one of the reasons SoulCalibur has always stood out from other fighting games. It's because the characters feel completely different from one another, especially in this time period where the other fighting games that it was competing with had characters that were just like carbon copies of each other. Say in Mortal Kombat. I know I keep bringing up Mortal Kombat, but it's the fighting game that I know the most. Around this time, you were going through the 3D era in Mortal Kombat's history, and that era was plagued with a bunch of just copies of a classic characters. I mean, say Kano, an iconic character. You had Kano, then on came Jarek, then on came Kira, and they were just like copies of Kano. They had the exact same movesets too. I mean, like, you gotta make your characters distinct from one another, because that's what makes the game memorable and special. And even the weapon system in SoulCalibur adds depth. One thing people don't talk about enough is the weapon system. Unlocking new weapons wasn't just cosmetic. Some weapons had strengths, some had weaknesses, some completely changed how a character performed. It added like another layer of progression, another reason to keep playing the game, and another reward for investing time into the game. The game constantly found ways to make the progression feel meaningful, which is amazing, like I said, for a PS2 game. And even today, when I booted it up on my PS2 and my PC emulator, I just noticed SoulCalibur 3 has an incredible atmosphere. I mean, the presentation still holds up today. The music, the stages, the menus, the narration, the fantasy aesthetic, everything sort of feels epic in a way. There's a sense of adventure to the game. It feels like you're traveling through a world, not just selecting matches from a menu. That's something modern fighting games struggle with too. SoulCalibur 3 often had personality everywhere, and I mean everywhere. I mean, games really nowadays kind of feel a little dead. I mean, some of them are still good. I mean, Mortal Kombat 1 has amazing presentation. I say Street Fighter 6 has amazing presentation. Tekken sort of lacks a little bit in presentation, but compare that with SoulCalibur 3, man, this game was blowing them out of the water. And after doing some thinking, I was like, why is SoulCalibur 3 so ahead of its time? I was comparing it with other games, and I was like, man, this is sort of similar to Mortal Kombat Deception. What do them two have in common? Mortal Kombat Deception is one of the highest rated Mortal Kombat games and beloved by the community. Both of those games took risks, a lot of them. And SoulCalibur Chronicles of the Sword was a risk. The character creator was a risk. The amount of single player content was a risk. The developers could have played it safe. They could have just made another fighting game. Instead, they tried to make the ultimate fighting game package. And really, I wish more developers had that mindset today. Now, let's be fair. The game wasn't flawless. There were balance issues, there were bugs, the AI was horrendous. I remember the save corruption bug was infamous. Competitive players also had plenty of complaints, and some features were rough around the edges. But here's the thing about it. I'd rather play an ambitious game with flaws than a safe game with none. SoulCalibur 3 aimed high, and that's why people still remember it. And there's a reason why we still talk about it today. It's not just nostalgia alone. It's because the game genuinely offered something special. It respected the player's time, it rewarded exploration, it rewarded progression, even curiosity. Every time you played, there was something new to discover, and really, that's becoming increasingly rare. So when people say SoulCalibur 3 was ahead of its time, I don't think they're talking about the graphics, I don't think they're talking about technology, they're talking about ambition. This game wanted to be more than just a fighting game. It wanted to be an entire experience, and 20 years later, we're still talking about it because very few games have managed to offer as much as SoulCalibur 3 did. It wasn't perfect, but it was ambitious. It was packed with content, and in many ways, it still feels like a glimpse into a future that fighting games never fully embraced. And that's why SoulCalibur 3 wasn't just great. It was way ahead of its time. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys still playing SoulCalibur games? Me? Yeah, I do. After playing this, I want to go back to all of them. But let me know what you guys think down below. Well, it's going to be for today's video, guys. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Thank you guys for watching. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.